some motions of what you will do with your wrench. This is a 5/32 Allen wrench. Now, you also have delivered with you an L-shaped wrench. It's the same thing. As long as it's 5/32, it will work. You put the ball end of the wrench in through the hole and insert it in that screw. You'll feel it insert itself. Now, when you turn that clockwise, you will actually move that neck in a relief position. In other words, a forward position. You'll relieve the neck. When you turn it into a counterclockwise position and it's inside the body, you'll actually push the neck backwards so that you'll actually you'll put the neck in a backbow position. Or if it's centered, it'll be actually in basically more of a neutral position. Where you do not want the neck is you don't want to, if you feel a soft spot in the middle, it means you're nowhere. You're really what we call neutral, or in a neutral part of the position. So you should have a little bit back position or a little bit forward position, and you don't want to go any more than like 2 turns any direction from neutral. If you can go more than that, but if you start feeling it getting very tight, you can put an S in the neck just because you've overstressed. You can overstress that. So don't do that. Go no more than, say, 2 turns of the wrench in either position. Now, if you remove this screw out of the back of the neck and want to service the neck for any reason, you've removed it from the guitar. Now you've actually removed the screw out. That is your adjustment screw. Now you can actually pull the neck out of the headstock out of the neck. This rod is a cold roll steel rod. It has a pinhole here where this pin that you saw here goes through and holds the neck very firmly. It's a fulcrum point. You have a threaded 1032 thread that this adjustment screw goes into, and then, of course, the 5/32 wrench is what adjusts that. Now, when this goes back into the neck, you notice that at the end of the neck there's a brass nut. Now, the brass nut completely closes in on the rod. It's very tight there. When it goes in, the rod just barely fits through that, so it can't twist. And the neck actually gets bigger as you get through the neck. The rod clears the center of the neck, okay? So it doesn't touch top or bottom in the neck, but it pivots here. Now, you can remove this. If in case you ever had to remove this, there's 2 screws to remove it. You take that off, and a whole new nut can be put on. It has to be shaped to this point here, and of course you can put whatever height you want here. We've even at times removed this part here. If somebody wants a Delrin or graphite or some type of another nut, all they have to do is just very basically take that right down to the lip and put anything they want in there. So when this rod goes in, there also is a little piece of felt you notice on here. That has to be there. And that's because you do not want this rod, really, you're trying to take the tension off the end of that neck. And when that goes back in, you want that to go in and lock under this piece. This is actually part of the patented thing, is a locking device. If you notice if you look real close, you'll actually see that there's a lip that comes up and locks over the top of the headstock. When it goes in, that lip goes under. This piece is protected from going clear up against the brass because of the little piece of felt. Now you put the adjustment screw back in to the hole where it was before, to the threaded end. Thread it all the way in, put it right down against the wood, as such, and put this pin all the way back into the center of the neck, screw it in. It'll have a special little wrench that you can, it's a 16th inch wrench, 1/16. Screw that all the way into where it goes all the way through, and that pin should be centered so that it's like that in the neck. It comes from the manufacturer that way, but it's very important that the pin, you can tell how far the pin is in by merely taking your thumb and putting it on the pin after it's all the way in the wood and pulling it out and see where the end of the pin actually is in the wood.